Yo, welcome to another episode of the Culturally Controversial Podcast, Sports Talk, man. I'm your host, Simply Nicholas 87, and my co-host, Ty H.
What's going on, folks? Beautiful Friday. Glad to be here.
Beautiful Friday, man. For all the new people that had subscribed to the channel, y'all hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, also hit that notification bell, let you know we getting ready to go live over here, man. We just hit our 200 subscriber mark this week, so we are at 200 subscribers. We appreciate everybody for hitting that subscribe button and tuning into the content, man. But tonight we got a special guest in the building. T, I'll let you take it away and we'll get into it, baby.
All right, man. I'm honored. I'm excited. We did this a year ago. We have the head coach of Anson Senior High School football, Coach Ralph Jackson, honorable man, a man who's loved by the community, a man who's loved by the kids he coached, a man who's a teacher, a man who's a mentor, and a man who's just a good overall human being. Let's go ahead and bring him on.
All right, y'all. Welcome Ralph Jackson to the building, man. Coach.
How are you?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man.
Good.
I can't complain, man. I said, as long as my head is above water, as long as I have breath, I'm happy.
Amen.
Yes,
same here.
We appreciate you for coming on, man. Appreciate you for coming in.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, well, I absolutely appreciate you guys for inviting me in also. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, no problem, man. We're going to get into a couple questions, man. I know the season's around the corner, man. I just want to ask one question. What was the motto for this year's camp?
Camaraderie. You know, we have a lot of young guys that are not really playing together well right now. So we want to make sure coming out of camp there will be a more cohesive team.
Okay. I seen that y'all had the camp in was it Pfeiffer?
Pfeiffer, yes, sir.
And what schools was Wakefield and Hunter Hus?
Wakefield and Hunter Hus was there. You know, we competed with those guys on a daily basis, in which, to me, I think we got better as a team because the guys started communicating. They played together well. I mean, we're still not a very good football team right now, but those are the working processes that we're going through.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to follow up on what you asked about the lack of camaraderie. Do you think is that driven by competition, or is it more of just lack of communication? What do you think it's driven by? Because if it's competition, it might make them better.
Yeah, I know it's not competition. It's not competition. I think I can't really put my thumb on it, to be honest with you, Terrell. The guys really, they're very athletic. You know, we're not overly fast as we were, but these guys just have not bonded like I want them to. You know, because we've been going hard at it all summer, and I think the 2 weeks off in July had a lot to do with it as well. Because before the July break, we were on an uptick. You know, and then when we got those 2 weeks off in July, it just changed the whole mood of the room, to be honest.
Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
Oh, you good. You good.
Nah, because I was saying the word on the street is like that you guys got a decent squad. That's as far as talent wise, that's what when I'm down in Waysboro, that's what I keep hearing that it should be a decent squad. So when you said the athletes are there, it's just a matter of putting it together.
Yeah. Well, and once again, that's what we're trying to do. That's been our focus the whole time, all summer. You know, because we're gonna have still a lot of sophomores that'll be starting on varsity that really are a year away, and we only have like 5 or 6 seniors, and out the 6, I think 3 have been there all summer. So you know, it's still a work in progress, and I hate to keep blaming the pandemic, but it really changed the mindset of a lot of our guys.
Yeah, the only thing about that, and I'm not trying to be funny, but every program in this CHSAA had to deal with that. So I mean,
yeah, yeah, but you know, and once again, I know it sounds like I'm complaining, but it's a different story in Waysboro. You know, our guys are so spaced out, and I think that has a lot to do with the disconnect as well.
And one more thing, Nick, before I just want to get this what's on my mind. Okay. With the turnout, I remember when we talked last year. Well, even last season, we had no depth at all. Like, if somebody got hurt, you could just kiss it goodbye. You had no depth whatsoever. Your offensive linemen were undersized, and we got we got destroyed. And the Pinecrest game was definitely one where we had no chance. We got destroyed in the trenches. It's just like when we lost Pinecrest, I told someone, I said there was nothing that the guys did wrong. I said we were just undersized in the trenches, and we just couldn't block it from it. and the defensive line couldn't penetrate on the other end. I'm hoping that some of those guys got bigger over the last year or so, because that was a scary situation to watch when you're especially in the middle. Your center and your guards were tiny, and that's what you were going there with. Poor young Hyatt, whatever. I couldn't be too hard on him, and this is not a diss because I'm like, he didn't have any protection. He was running for his life a good chunk of the season. At least when you threw Hickson in there, he was able to mask a little bit because of his mobility. Yeah. But we still struggled in the passing game no matter who we had out there because we couldn't pass a
lot. Yeah. Well, and I think I know the guys have gotten a little stronger, so we're catching up to where we need to be because they've worked hard all spring, the ones that have been there. Now, as far as height and size, we got, I think our smallest guy is going to be 5'8", 230, but we don't have a lot of height, a lot of, big body guys anymore for some reason.
Okay. So I was going to ask you a question about the weight room program during the summer. You guys usually start during May or June, right?
Well, we start in January, to be honest with you,
Okay.
But once the summer gets here, we have most of the guys in the classroom, and if they're not in the classroom, we'd like for them to come after school or before school to do their workouts. So I think we have caught up or catching up with as far as strength when it comes to other teams. But then we get to the summer, I don't think I've ever had so many kids take vacations. We start off with probably 35 freshmen at the beginning, but we haven't seen them since the first or second week, and most of them, since the first or second week in June. So we've been averaging about 40 guys, and I think we took 40 total, to be exact, to the mini camp.
Okay. Do you expect more to come when the official training camp starts? Do you at least expect a few more guys to come back?
Yeah, I think that Monday we'll have quite a few guys out there.
Good. We can't field a 1A size squad and expect it to be.
And I agree with you. And I don't know what it's going to take to get them out there. I don't know if they feel like that I'm working them too hard or whatever, but just as well as I do, if you don't put anything into it, you're not going to care about it too much.
Yeah, it's just if you're only carrying 40 players, you might as well just you might as well try to play in the Yadkin Valley if you're going to go with 40 players.
I can't disagree with you on that, and the 40 players were with some JV guys. I think we had 10 JV guys there, freshmen and sophomores, so it's a dire need for players right now.
I'm not understanding why we're having a hard time getting guys to come out. And that's, I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about in general. Where's the disconnect in the interest? Is there any trend or something that you're seeing or anything that you're seeing that's making guys not interested in playing?
I can't really answer that question because, as I said, before the pandemic, we had numbers. We were probably 35, 40 strong easily on a daily basis. But since the pandemic, and I hate to keep throwing that word out there, but I promise you, the interest has not been there like it was previously.
And that's killing us.
It is. It really is. And it's frustrating for me as well because, I'm there all the time. And we're going to do whatever we can to get kids on campus in the weight room and at practice.
And another thing that's concerning, and Nick is going to delve more into it, but it's last year, I'm not blaming anybody, but I thought you set up the field last year. And I'm not saying that somebody set you up the field. I'm trying to say what you went out there with set you up the field. And that's getting into on the sidelines. I only saw you and maybe a couple of other guys. And I know that's something Nick wanted to delve into, so I'm leading you right into that.
I was going to ask about the coaching staff. As far as the depth of coaching this year, how is that turning out this year?
Well, we only have 6 paid spots right now. So as far as coaches, then we'll have all the volunteers that we want. Just as well as I know. Most of the time when you get a lot of volunteers, you're not getting quality coaches. And I'm not trying to say anything bad about any coach that volunteers, but
right.
We want guys that are going to be paid and compensated for their time and their efforts. And hopefully that's a conversation that we can have at a later date.
Okay.
Okay, because that was a concern last year. Because when I never forget, and I don't mind even sharing this, and I'm sure Randy Jordan don't care that I share this. I was talking to Randy Jordan, and Coach Stenson. We were just sitting there at the West Stanley game, just at the end of the season, and I was like, how can you expect success when I said the man's not being dealt a full hand? I said he ain't got a staff. I was about to say how can he ain't got? He doesn't have a staff, doesn't have a ton of players, and we have no depth. How can you expect someone to succeed with that? That was very concerning when I saw only like 3 coaches last year, and I know you had Coach Hyatt, so that you had a former head coach that was on your side, but aside from him, I didn't really see anyone who had high level coaching experience that was there alongside with you. And I'm like, I don't. So how are you able to manage with that? Because at that point you're the head coach, offense coordinator, defense coordinator, the defensive back coach, the linebackers coach. Well,
it's been demanding, and the management has been frustrating, But Coach Hyatt came along and he helped us out a lot. Coach Allen, he's been there with me the whole time. He and Coach Chandler, those guys do a great job. But we just have to do more with less right now until we can figure that out.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm an advocate for you, but I feel like as those guys, even the athletic director / principal, should find some people to help fill those positions. In my opinion, it's not your fault because they're the ones that are, signing the papers or whatever they do. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I understand. And I think they do what they can do. It's just that there's been a little restructuring, through athletics, and we'll just see how it turns out.
Yeah, well, I want to. This is my opinion. I think Coach Jordan's a good guy. This is my opinion. If anyone can disagree, but I've had several conversations with Coach Jordan. I think he actually wants to see success, and I think it's kind of a good thing that he's athletic director because by him being a basketball coach, he can kind of feel your pain because it looked like that some of the same struggles you guys had on the football side, on the basketball side, and the thing about the basketball side, they had higher expectations. And this is not a knock on him. I'm just saying the expectations were higher on the basketball side, and things didn't materialize the way he had hoped for. So I think having that person who's an active head coach, also as the AD, I think that can help because at least he directly understands what it's like to go through when you're trying to implement something and it's not materializing on game day. And I'm hoping that you guys. I hope that you guys have a strong relationship and are in constant communication as far as the resources that you need to be successful. At least I'm hoping that communication is there.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I mean, I think it's a work in progress, and I think we're going to get there.
I hear you. Like I said, your schedule ain't a cakewalk. You're starting out again, going on the road at Mountain Island again. No disrespect to Coach Washington in the Mountain Island, but I still felt like that was more of a game about that was a game of Anson versus Anson. I thought that was a lot of mistakes that we made on our side. We moved the ball up and down the field on them well in that game. I know the game got weather delayed. It got the second half of it was pushed back to the next day.
That's right.
That game came down to turnovers and 2 blown coverages. I'm not going to call the name of the individual, but that went. I know you hate playing guys both ways, and I thought that ended up. You had your running back playing corner, and you could tell when he had to turn right back around and go. They noticed that he spit toward the end of the game. They had beaten him a couple times and dropped it. You still there? You can hear me, right? I think he asked himself. I'll make sure you get back in.
I got a phone call. I apologize.
No, you're fine. You're fine. We thought we had lost you, but and that by the time you got late in the third quarter, they knew he was tired, and they took a shot at him one time, and the receiver dropped it a couple of times. But that third time they took a shot at him, they got it, and then we tried to come back late in the game, and we just ran out of time. So I thought that was a game that we had got a lot of penalties, shot ourselves in the foot quite a few times. I thought we could have won that game. So I think that's a chance at a do-over that I feel like you can go to Mount Holly and if you can get off to a good start, I think you'll be okay. Now, the next game when it came to Pinecrest, I don't hold that against you or anybody else. They kicked our you-know-whats, and you take your lumps and on the next week. I mean, I'm not saying go out there and get blown out again, but what I'm saying is what happened last year, that was a team that had more depth. That was a team that had that was bigger in the trenches. They just lined right up, and early in the game, I thought we competed. We got an interception early in that game and had a chance to do something, but we just they just wore us down in the trenches. There was nothing we could do. Then that next week against Piedmont, I think you had some personal family things you had to tend to, and you weren't able to be there. I always wonder, and it's not your fault. You had to take care of your family. But
I think you're on mute. You're on mute, Ralph. Let's see. I think I might unmute him from here.
Yeah, we'll get it together.
Can you hear his coach?
He can hear us, but we can't hear him.
No, we can't hear him. Hit your little microphone button down at the bottom. There you go.
Gotcha. Thank you. There.
Yeah. With the situation at Piedmont, when you had that family emergency that happened where you had to be gone for a week, I respect any man that has to take care of his family. So family come first. I mean, at that point, screw the job. You got to take care of your family. But I always wonder if with that game, I wondered would the outcome been different had circumstances not prevented the chief from being there. It's unfortunate, but that's one of those where I still think that we had athletes compete with Piedmont. So a lot of those games we lost last year, I think those are games we can flip. I think several of those games that we can flip in our favor. So if we can get off to a good start, I think if we can. We've only won one season opener, I think, since you've been with us. Right. I always felt like it was a 2013 win over Forest Hill a few years ago when you had Daenerys Hilton playing quarterback. If we I always felt like winning the season opener changes the mindset because that little early bit of success makes everyone believe like, okay, we can do this. But
that's right.
When you're starting out 0-2, 0-3 and stuff, things can break down really quickly. Even in 2019, we went 7-3. We started out 0-2, and if we can get off to a good start, man, we just protect the football. I think that we can beat Mountain Island if we protect the ball.
Yeah, I think if our guys compete like I know they can, and it's going to take us making sure that they are a unit, okay? And as you said, if we get off to a good start, if we can go 1-0, our guys will be riding high, you know. And I can't predict the outcome of the Pinecrest game, but I do think it'll be a competitive game. I mean, because in the trenches, we should be a little stronger than what we were last year. And they had like 29 seniors, you know, so they were just loaded with talent and daggone experience. So if we can do our X's and O's and have our guys prepared, ready to play for anything, we'll see what happens, you know, the first two games. And I'm like you. I love that you keep, you know, you let me know about those openers, because I'm telling you, that's our first goal in the weight room. It's on the wall. Win the opener, you know. But our guys, I mean, we've made a lot of mistakes, and you know, we've left a lot of points on the field, and hopefully we can remedy that this year.
Well, one thing about leaving the points on the field, a blessing in disguise that happened against Covenant Day or whatever. You found the kicker.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Is he returning?
That guy graduated, but the guy behind him is returning. You know,
I'm talking about I believe his last name was Hassan or something like that. Is he coming back?
Yeah, Hamza is back. Yes.
Oh, my bad. I mispronounced his name. That's
you're fine.
That's the guy. He made like a 32-yarder in the first half against Covenant Day to cut it to 10. I told people, I said, if we have him whole season, you can flip some games. I'm just gonna give a scenario. Let's say, for example, you got in the red zone 5 times, and 2 of those times you had to go for it and you didn't get it. But let's say now you have him and you kick 2 field goals. That's 6 points. Let's say if it's a game where you're down 30 to the 27, whereas before, if you take that away, you're down 30 to 21. Before minutes left, you score a game and you're pretty much in a bind without much of a passing attack, versus being down 30 to 27. that changes how a whole game is managed. And lots of times, going forward on 4th and goal versus getting 3 points. Let's say you got down there 3 times, you came out with 9 points out of the whole thing. That's better than
a game changer.
0 points in those scenarios. So
that's a game changer. You come up with 3 field goals at that time. So
especially if you're in a defensive slugfest. So I think you could put some game. I actually think that field goal right before halftime just covered the day. You're down by 2 touchdowns. You end up winning the game 38-27. But those 3 points changed the way the game was managed late in the game. So I think that matters that you got a kicker now. I think that's going to help you out tremendously that you got a kicker that you can count on and depend on at least for intermediate field goals. That's going to take a lot of pressure off the offensive coordinator too.
That's true. In which, and Coach Allman does a great job with the kickers. He's been working with those guys all spring and all summer. So I think Hamza has improved a lot. And we have another kid named Jesse Furr, who's a junior this year as well. He kicked on JV last year. He also played backup quarterback. I think he's going to be a good one for us as well. So I think we'll have 2, 1 on deck, after Hamza graduates.
Yeah, and I hope you got someone that can punt too, because it doesn't help when you punt the ball straight up in the air.
Hey, sometimes you got to play the hand you dealt. We didn't have a punter, and Jesse also punts as well. So he's been working on that with Coach Allman.
Okay, so about to say, like you remember last year we talked about special teams, man. That can cost you games, man. So,
well, you go back to the Mount Pleasant game. That's the difference in the game at Mount Pleasant.
That kickoff return,
back to back. So I mean, absolutely. In which we've been harping that up. Special teams ever since last year, since Coach Allman has come on. Special teams take a bigger part or a bigger role in practice.
They call it hidden yardage.
Yes, well, true. But previously, I've always said, our athletes on special teams, they'll make plays. But no, we need to train those guys and make sure they know how important special teams are.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to get into guys' personal business, but is Jakari Hickson looking like he'll be ready to go by the season opener?
Yeah, I hope so. He's. Our passing game has improved and it's getting a little better. Jakari, he's a good athlete, great size, great speed. We just have to find his niche, And right now, as you said, his mobility changes a lot of games. So we'll just have to see how it works out. I mean, it's a competition to the day of the game between Jakari Hickson and Luke Hyatt.
Let them battle it out and may the best person win. Just my personal opinion on it. And I feel like because I don't think the passing game is going to be good no matter who you put back there. That's my personal opinion. I don't think we got the line for it. I don't know if we got the pass catchers for it either. So I'm
but
just
it's pertinent in the game, though. We got to be able to throw the ball at some point in time.
That's true. But one thing I've always said, usually with an offense that struggles to pass the ball, the next thing to deodorize that is when you have a guy with mobility. I always felt like that you can use him the same way that Dan Mullen used to use Dak Prescott at Mississippi State, the same way they used to use Tebow, the same way that North Gassett used to use AJ Blue, put him in a shotgun, put a tight end over there, and put an H-back over there, and let him pull, and just let him run behind him and dare somebody to bring him down. I mean,
I think you've been spying on our practices some. I mean, because the things that you're naming.
Well, I'm not trying to give away trade secrets, so
okay, please don't.
So never mind.
Let's just change the subject.
Yeah, because I don't want to give away none of that.
I'm gonna ask you as a question. It's more so based on the newer generation of players. I know when they come into the weight room, they see all the accolades, the historical pictures. Do you think that some of these kids don't quite understand it, the history of it yet, or do some of them actually get it? Because I know some of the kids' parents actually played that's on your team. Maybe
yes, sir. Yeah. To answer that question, to be honest with you,
oh man, I was waiting to hear what they had to say too.
I think he had another buzz.
Phone call. He's an important man.
Oh yeah, he'll be back momentarily.
Hear me?
Yeah.
I'm getting phone calls, man. Please forgive me. But
it's okay.
To answer your question, the kids, they don't understand the history of it, and they look at those accolades and those pictures like those guys are from Mars. You know, they don't believe that they were at Anson. And we have this conversation every year. I'm like, every guy on that wall played here, all conference, college players. Those records on the walls, on that wall, they were actually set here in this weight room. You know, so
I was there to witness some of them.
Yeah, well, you know, in the newer generation, they don't believe it because I don't know what the reason is, but they don't think those things actually happen. You know, I think we had a conversation at minicamp the other night, and somebody said, "There's no way he hang clean 385."
Yes,
well, if
he
he works, he's gonna hang clean 385, and he's a freak of nature. Yeah, you know, so you don't have to hang clean 385 to be a freak. But what I'm saying to you is that man put work in while he was in that weight room. You know, and we forcing kids to work right now, so because they're young. I think once they get a little older, they're gonna understand that, you know, the stronger you are, the faster you are, the better of an athlete you can be.
I'm like, it wasn't that long ago when Tim Horn playing for Anson County. Now you coached him. I'm like, it ain't been that long ago.
Well, I agree, but you know, Timmy came out and spoke to the guys the other day. You know, they were enamored that he was there, but they can't picture him being an Anson football player for some reason. They look at him as being a college player and now an NFL player, and I'm like, no, this kid went through the same thing that you guys go through.
The humble beginnings.
Yeah,
you know, and Coach Hyatt can tell them that he coached Devon Anthony. He coached Timmy too before you got there, but I'm saying he coached Devon Anthony, who was a first round draft pick and was an all ACC player at Clemson. How about to say, to me, the greatest athlete, at least the greatest defensive player to ever play for Anson County.
Yeah, Stephon, right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, sir. And I never got to see him play, but everybody I've talked to, they just
freak of nature, man.
Well, you know what?
You
know what? I'm gonna kiss up to him, write a little love letter to him. I'm gonna tell you what kind of player he was.
I'm listening.
He played outside linebacker in the 3-4.
Yeah.
He was a guy had the agility of a safety. He had to change the direction of the hips of a safety. You could drop him back. He's Anson's all-time interceptions leader. You could drop him back in coverage like a safety. He could line up. You can line him up against tight ends and receivers. He can go cover man to man. He also was a good pass rusher. You could put him on the edge and let him rush the quarterback. You could also move him in the middle and let him shoot the gap and stop the run. You could also put him on offense. They used to put him at slot receiver and tight end and let him go catch passes.
And Coach Hyatt running back. Yeah, Coach Hyatt was telling me it's 3rd and 15. Put Stephon in the game. Let him run the ball.
I gotta tell you one play, and I'll let it go. And this is Coach Hyatt to tell you this. This was in the 3rd round of the playoffs, the 3AA playoffs in 2009. They were playing against Northern Guilford. I'm sure you're familiar with Keenan Allen that played with the Chargers. He was he played at Northern Guilford at the time. So that was that game was basically both of them. Stephon was mainly playing offense in that game. They were both he playing both ways actually and special teams. But they were just going back and forth scoring touchdowns. But I remember in the 3rd quarter of that game, late 4th quarter in that game, I remember. I don't know if you're familiar with Jordan Hildreth. He was the quarterback at the time. They were basically running zone read. And I never forget, it was like 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 from midfield. Hyatt decided to go for it. And I remember Hildreth handed the ball off to Anthony. They were in the shotgun or the pistol or whatever. He handed it off to him. And it was a pile-up. And, you know, you're trying to see, like, they might have to measure it. You think, like, it's close, it's close, it's close. I'm like, but I think you got it. Then next thing you know, you look down the field, Anthony running down the field, his knee never touched the ground. He running down the field.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, before a touchdown. And that was the go-ahead touchdown to seal the game. That put us up 34-26. We won the game 34-32. So
wow.
He was a man out there playing against boys. I've never a guy that big that had blazing speed like that. And I wish if you'd have loved coaching. I know you coached Antonio Williams, so you've coached big time football player before, but I think you'd have been like a kid at the Kansas or coach. I got lucky enough to coach him.
I guarantee you. Yeah. Well, I've heard nothing but great things about him, and the few times that I've met him, he's a stand-up guy. You know, he loves
and a very smart guy, book smart wise.
Yes, sir.
This is important because I know you preach to his kids. He graduated 8th in his graduating class. He graduated top 10. It's a known fact. He graduated 8th in his class. And the reason I want to emphasize that is because also, even though we've had quite a few of D1 players who played here, we had Trey Thomas, we had Tim Horn, Barkwell, who's coaching at Forest Hill, Michael Bowman, Trent Sturter. We had DeJuan Pope. I know I'm going to miss some names, but we've had a slip of D1 guys play here. But at the same time, we've also had a bunch of guys who had D1 talent, but didn't qualify academically, and then they ended up playing at NAIA schools and stuff. And education is education, so I'm not putting down the NAIA school. But
I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I was like, and I'll never forget this. I'm not going to call this player's name, but this player here also was a starting linebacker alongside Stephon Anthony. And I will say this: Baylor University wanted to offer this young man a scholarship to play for them, but they told him he had to get his SAT scores up. And I remember when I met him, I told him, I said, dude, if you want me to, I'll help you study for the SAT to help you get. But he didn't follow me up on it. And I went to him. And he was an acquaintance of a friend of mine, and I told him, introduce him to him. And I said, I'll help you. I was in college at the time. I said, I will help you if I was like a senior in college. I said, I'll help you because I want to see us do well. But he didn't follow me up on it.
He was a freak.
He didn't go play college ball anywhere. And this guy was a D1 talent and didn't play anywhere. And that's where I think a lot of guys don't get that message. In order for a college to want you, you got the business done in the classroom as well.
Well, the investment can't be. Yeah, well, and the investment can't be just weight rooming on the field, because if you don't have the academic accolades, then I mean, you're not going to have an opportunity, and that's something that I always preach to our guys. And once again, the pandemic has really ruined that part as well for us right now. So we're still reeling, trying to get guys back on track academically. I think I've told you guys a story. When I got here, we had like 24 kids in summer school and 15. And me and the coaching staff, Coach Davis, Richard Davis, and Quan and all those guys, we talked about it, come up with a plan. We had study halls. Next year, 2016, we had 0 guys who had to go to summer school. And we've been on that track for a while until the pandemic hit. And right now, I think we had like 9 or 10 guys this summer in summer school. It's just because we have to get them back on track academically and get them refocused.
And the thing is, I don't think these kids are lacking aptitude. I think it's more of an effort thing.
It is. Well, you can see that, like I said, with the kids not coming out. I mean, it's if it's going to be strenuous, then they don't want to do it right now. And it's easier to say, well, I don't feel good or whatever excuse they may give us. But we as a staff, we have to get these kids out here on the field in the weight room, honestly.
And another thing that I don't understand as well is, like, I know we were talking about 15, 16, 17-year-olds, but their counterparts are the same age. So, for example, if they look over 17 miles down the road, those, I know it's more of them, but those are 17, 16, 15-year-olds in Richmond Senior as well. And most of the time, the guys here got cousins and stuff that play there and all that as well. Yep. I'm not understanding why they can't look and see, like, look at what they're doing there.
Yeah.
Or let's even bring it down to our size. Let's go to Forest Hills. Forest Hill, they new coach or whatever, they start. I want to get into Forest Hill and something I did not like when we went to Forest Hill as well, but I'm gonna get that. Similar size school. I'm talking about currently similar size school who are going through recent struggles, but it looked like their guys are bought in and they sure beat the hell out of us.
They drug us.
So and speaking of that goes into effort too. I don't care what anybody tells me, your football team quit on you at Forest Hill.
They sure did. Well, if you'd have seen the guys that we had crying, complaining, and I'm like, God, it to me, I've never been so embarrassed because nothing we do will give a guy the idea that it's okay to lay down and let people take advantage of you. But that was the easiest way out. And they kept saying, well, that's my cousin over there, and I'm going to hear this. I'm like, look, guys, effort is irreplaceable. If you do the things you're supposed to do, guys, just compete. But they didn't even want to compete at that night.
I'm gonna tell you, when that game when the first snap above High's head, I looked at the guy sitting beside me. I said, "We're gonna," and excuse my language, I said, "We're gonna get the hell whooped out of us." Yeah. I said, and that at that time that made the game 2-0. It snapped above his head, it fell out the back of the end zone, and it was 2-0. I said, we're gonna get the hell whooped out of us. I said, you can. I could tell how lethargic everyone looked. And I remember when Forrest Hill scored the first touchdown, it was on a 3rd and 9, and somebody, the quarterback broke contain, and he strolled right by like 5 white jerseys. Where about 5 guys had a chance to tackle him, and nobody even tackled him, and he took it to the house for a touchdown. I was like, and then the very next offensive play, the ball got snapped above his head again. It was like 4. I've never seen like 4 errant snaps like that in the second game.
Dude, and we had nobody else to turn it to. You know, everybody kept saying, "Well, go in the center." Hell, you go in the center, he's gonna throw it between his legs. I don't know, but anyway, I'm speculating.
Yeah, and I didn't get there. I didn't get there against Monroe, but the scoreboard looked like it may have been. I missed that game against Monroe because it played on a Monday because them COVID reschedules and stuff, and had to throw in Union Pines and all this stuff. It threw everything off. But the scoreboard against Monroe looked like it was that type of thing. And God knows against Covenant Day, it was about to start out like that, but it was like there was a breath of life. The thing that bothered me about the Forest Hill game the most is we won back-to-back games. We got off to an 0-3 start. We beat. I know that's a young Albemarle team, but a win is a win. I about to say we had a young team too. So we beat a young Albemarle team, and then we turned around. Didn't even know we were going to have to play Union Pines, and still beat them as well. I thought the team's confidence was coming up because I thought, as far as talent-wise, I didn't think there was a big talent discrepancy between us and Forest Hill.
Yeah.
I thought you get 3 you want to know in the conference, we could write the shit. And then when that happened, I'm like, where was that team that almost beat Parkwood that night against Forest Hill?
Dude, look, I'm gonna say this, and now you're touching me deep. To be honest with you, we were voided of leadership last year, and right now we have some guys. As I said, those 3 guys that have been there that are seniors. I think they are trying to lead. You know, they have been very consistent. Now I want to go back to something you said earlier about our guys and the way that these other kids are bought into programs and the way they carry themselves. And look at that. Minicamp taught me something about our guys that I don't think I would have known before the season. Just the way Wakefield and the Hunter Huss guys carry themselves, it was completely different than our guys. You know, our guys, because they were bigger schools, it was like they were okay with not maybe being the best. You know, the first day of conditioning, we competed with Wakefield, and we do conditioning quite often. And Wakefield coach told me, he said, "Coach, we hadn't run since last year, really. You know, we've just been in the weight room and trying to make sure we get our conditioning in the weight room." And that first day, you can have to excuse my language because I'm telling you, I got pissed off.
Top man.
Well, you know, Wakefield beat us in our own game as far as conditioning. You know, time. We had guys that have been there all summer calling for the damn trainer. You know, I'm sitting laying on the ground. Oh, it hurts. I'm like, oh. Anyway, you know, I said what I said to those guys, and we got back in the dorm, and I let them have it. Because once again, something I don't like is somebody quit on me in public. You know, if you're gonna quit on me at practice. Does that make sense? Don't quit on me in front of the crowd. And as I said, when I got finished with those guys Tuesday night, we came back out Wednesday. And dude, them guys ran.
You good, Coach? You good?
Yes, sir. I apologize for that.
No, I'm glad to see that side of you because I always felt like you were too much like Tony Dungy for me.
No. If you'd have been in that dormitory room, you'd be like, "That's not Tony Dungy," because I'm telling you right now, I gave it to them because it was just so embarrassing. Getting beat at something that you're supposed to be good at. And we condition hard. You know, we run every damn day in the summer. You know, and for these guys not to have run, but they came from different backgrounds, different homes, you know, it's probably a little more stable than what our guys are. But our guys came out and competed that next day. I mean, they ran them son of a guns up one side and down the other.
I remember stuff like that, man, when we had like those 7-on-7 camps. Man, we would never lay down because we didn't want to get embarrassed at the house. It was no such thing. You don't. I don't care who it is. If your cousin playing on the other team, your uncle, your brother.
It could be my twin brother. If we're competing against each other,
we want to play.
Your ass, Mr. Postman. Yes, I'm telling you that right now.
We want to play, bro. If we lose, I want you to know that we gave everything we got.
Hey, you know that we were there, you know. So I think we're going to get there as far as our team and our guys. I mean, because I know our seniors want to go out winners. You know where I'm coming from? They just have to get a coalition, is what I call them. Let everybody know, look, this is our team. If you're going to be with us, you're with us. If not, get the hell out of our way because we need to roll.
Yeah, and when it comes down to it, man, you got to take what is yours.
That's it.
Yeah, and the thing about it, I always said all this stuff is a microcosm of life because once they graduate from high school, if they're not going to college or they're either going to college, military, or they're going to the workforce. And once they realize, once they get out there, outside the confines of their parents' walls, they're going to understand that nobody's going to give you anything, and whatever you want in life, you got to go out there and reach out and grab it, and you got to do whatever is necessary and legitimate, of course, necessary to go out there and achieve it, and it's not just going to fall in your lap. It's like you can't. If I want a Ferrari, I can't just sit there and say I want a Ferrari and then look out in my yard and it's there. I got to do the necessary things it takes to be able to get one.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, and heck, I'd like for you guys to come and speak and address the team one day. I mean, because once again, you know, the more people they see that can tell them more about the history and they hear the same thing from other people, I think it's going to resonate. You know,
he has the tradition. I'll tell you someone. You know, I don't know if you're a collector of old newspapers. I know Coach Fred Davis, is a collector of old newspaper articles. I'll tell you someone else. He's not a part of. He doesn't live in Anson County anymore, but he was Coach Davis's running back coach, Coach Brett McElhaney. He still has a lot of. You can reach out to him on Facebook, but he has a lot of old Anson newspapers. Like if you talk to Coach Davis, any of those guys, like even at my uncle's house, he still got the old news. I think he still got it. Where in 2000 when they beat the Crest Chargers in the second round of the 4A playoffs, and you see the cover where you see Antoine Marsh blocking the punt or whatever. Or when you see when they beat a number one seed West Charlotte in the 1999 playoffs, I vividly remember all of that. And the thing about it, I guess I'm 34 years old now, but it seems like it was yesterday. That's why it's so frustrating when number one, I know this is beyond the players' control. I never dreamed that Anson County's enrollment would be so low that we would be a 2A school. I know that's beyond the players. I know that's not nothing to do with you or the players. It's just the enrollment. But that hurts my heart, man. And then the thing about it, not only have we dropped another classification, but we've been in that classification for 5 or 6 years now, and only had one winning season since we've been in that classification. Last year, what are we going? Did we win a conference game last year?
No.
Nah, that Central Academy of Technology and Art shut the football program down. So there was that. So speaking of special teams, I'm going on a tangent, but I want to go back to that. This is something that I got angry about. This happened about 4 years ago. They were playing Central Academy of Technology and Arts down there at Walter Pickett Stadium. That team hadn't scored a touchdown all year. Them SOBs scored their only touchdown of the season against us, and it was on a kickoff return. And then they got a 2-point conversion, and I saw our guys standing on the sideline laughing about it. Yeah, we were up 59-8, but I was like, I'm sitting there like, that's not funny.
I want a shutout. Everybody wants that do it.
See, but as a head coach, I tell the guys all the time, I'll take the blame, okay? But I tell these guys, when you get older, you're going to look back and have to evaluate yourself and the things that you've done. And those guys know we talked all week about that, that Central Academy game. And when those guys scored, you should have heard Coach Quan, Schenkel, Landon, all these guys. I mean, we were pissed off.
I believe.
But the guys took it lightly because, they deserve to score. No, hell they don't. If they didn't score against nobody else, they don't score against us. We're supposed to be the juggernaut, so and it's kind of, once again, that's frustrating as well. But that was 4 years ago. But I do think that element is in our guys where one of the players said it the other day. So we just too nice. I said, no, I don't want you to be nice. I want you to be violent. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to be no renegade. Don't get me wrong. I don't want anything to happen like it did at the Richmond game, which really was not an issue. But I don't want that to happen. But I want you to play physical and fast. And very aggressive.
I hit you. I want you to know I was there.
And I'm coming back.
You might need to see if Rasheed Burns got some more eligibility left.
Hey, now that guy right there changed our defense. You know what I'm saying? Now he was a renegade. When I say renegade, it's a good one because I'm telling you, he's gonna bring the hype every Friday night, man. He does. He did a few things that I didn't like, and I would get on him for because he likes to steal towels. I'm like, you made a great tackle. Why do you want to take his towel, Rasheed? He said, Coach, I just want him to know that I took something he had. So, just having fun, I guess. It's the linebacker mentality, I guess,
I like them. Sometimes you get some untimely penalties, but I'm talking about overall. Some of the penalties he got, I don't think were necessarily fair either. Like I remember against Chesterfield, he sat the quarterback and he did like this, and they threw a flag on him. I'm like, he turned around and looked at his own teammate and did it, and they threw a flag on him. I'm like, come on, man.
Well, and that was the year that we started beating Chesterfield, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that's the difference there. I think we get a bad rap when it comes to those type things. Every other kid on other teams can have fun, but when our kids are having fun, it's like it's not supposed to be.
Well,
and our kids are not bad kids.
That dates back to even well before, even in the glory days, that was an issue.
Yeah.
Coach Davis
told me.
Coach Davis will tell you I don't know if he ever is there. I'm not gonna get too deep into it. There was an incident that happened about 30 years ago against Northern Durham, and that's been kind of a thing that's
the celebration thing, right?
That's a curse. That's been a curse for
and it's been one of those things because if you ever get in contact with Coach Grooms, he can tell you the same thing. Coach Grooms will tell you, Coach Hyde will tell you, Coach Davis will tell you that now granted, I do think that throughout the years, some of it has been that sometimes some of our guys will be undisciplined. Like things like you get false start on first and goal, like you can't have that.
No. That goes without saying.
Yeah. When you got somebody stopped on fourth down and you go and hit by the guy afterwards, like that. I don't know who was coach. I don't know if you were coaching or if Hyatt was coaching. But we were playing against Cupperson one time, and this one Cupperson was in our conference when we were and I remember we led that whole game, had them stopped, and somebody head-butted somebody, and they went on to score a touchdown, went on to win that game too. And I'm like, I think that was like either your second year here or something like that, 2016 or something like that. But I'm like, those things used to make me so mad, and especially when we had a lead. And I'm like,
well, once again, that process and all that for our guys have not proved to be the best options for us. Because when our guys get excited, they really get excited. And I'm not making excuses for them, but they make some bonehead plays. And just like a coach, I make bonehead calls. I make bonehead decisions as well. But we're trying to work. We've been trying to work through that. And hopefully, we hadn't had it in 4 years now. So hopefully we don't have any more of those bonehead plays. But the offsides thing, I don't know what we can do to remedy that. I mean,
there's only one game that I wholeheartedly held against you. And that was I want you to hear this. There's only one game I ever held against you. That was it was 2015 against Chesterfield.
That pass.
Well, I ain't talking about the one right before halftime where Tyson got intercepted. That hurt too. But I was in there down the stretch of the game. We just had one first down, the game would have been over. And I'm just like, and this is like it's like we're trying to give him the game. I'm like, come on, man. And I remember, I'm like, what in God's name are we doing? I know it's in the heat of the moment.
Because go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Now, I know from the stands, it's easy to look down and be like, what in God, when you're not the one having to make the decisions. But I was like, what in God's name are we doing? I'm like, just get a first down and let's go home.
Yeah. Well, and I had to apologize to my coaches because even before the halftime when I called that play, Schenkel, right now, and Quincy, don't do it, coach. I'm like, man, I feel it. Timmy. Yeah, let me call you back. I'm on the interview real quick.
Hey, Tim Horn, tell him what up. Is that him?
Hey, Timmy, can you hear them?
Hey, what up, Tim Horn? Make us proud, boy. I hate the Falcons, but I love you.
Yeah.
See you back in American Stadium when you get that whooping. That's the guy you be talking to on the show on 49er games.
Yeah. I'm back. Can y'all hear me good?
Yeah. Dang, I wish you could have the link and bring him on. Shoot.
I wish I could. We'll call him back if you need to now.
Nah, it's all good. I'm just messing, but that would have been cool though.
Yeah.
That game, and I'm gonna tell you two other games that pissed me off. And the other two games we won. We played East Montgomery one time. You hear me? We played East Montgomery. We were up like 36-0 at one point, and we were 36-14. And we're gonna call a deep pass downfield. Octavian Harrell stumbled on the route. The ball got intercepted and ran back for a touchdown to make it 36-21. It's like 6 minutes left. I'm like, the ball game is over. Wow.
Yeah. And once again, I eat all that. You know, I'm gonna take up for my guys, and Octavian. I wish I had that talent back too. To be honest with you.
Hey, that's my coworker there.
Oh really?
Yeah, I work with Octavian. Yeah, he's a good guy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out Larry Harold.
You got a real bad echo, Terrell. You got a bad echo. I don't know if it's my phone.
It's my phone, bro.
Okay.
Let me see. I probably can fix it. Hold on.
Yeah, Nick, help me out.
Hold on. Hold up. Let me do this. I'm gonna put you back in.
I'm back now on the other side.
Yeah.
It's a little bit louder. It ain't much louder.
Yeah.
It'll fix itself before it's over with. Well, talk to him. And then I'm gonna mention one more game where we did some mess like that too. But talk to him a little bit when my sound comes back.
I'm gonna ask you another question. I'm gonna start out with the season schedule and what the season schedule looking like. So who are we playing? We starting out with, I know Mountain
Island Charter.
Yeah.
Then we got Pinecrest. Then we got Piedmont, Mount Pleasant, Albemarle, Central Pageland. Then we're going to conference play. You know, I think we start off with Monroe. I think, if I'm not mistaken. I'll be honest with you, I hadn't looked past Mountain Island Charter. You know, that's our first target, and we definitely need to focus on winning that opener, and that's going to be a conversation that we'll have again starting Monday at 4:30. You know, for the guys that went to minicamp, they'll be practicing. For those guys that didn't go to minicamp, they got to look a couple-day conditioning test.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, the most important game is your next one.
That's right. Yeah, and that's it.
I remember we didn't get to play Central Paisley. I always wanted to play Central Paisley, but they played them. I think it was that next year they played Central Paisley.
Mm-hmm.
That 2000, they didn't play in 2005-06. They played, I think
they played 07 Dennis Rory, and then went down there and beat them.
Yeah, 13-10.
Oh, really?
No, they beat them 14-7 in overtime.
14-7.
Yeah, Jimmy Bennett was the game-saving interception in the back of the end zone to win that game. I was down there at the Hall for him.
Who was that? Who had a game-winning interception?
By the way, he's a police officer down in Marshville now, but he was a running back, but Coach McMahon put him on defense in that overtime. This is when Dennis. That's the same year that Dennis won. You know Dennis Rory, don't you?
Yes.
Quarterback. Yeah, that's the same year that Dennis Rory won South Piedmont MVP that year.
Oh.
Yeah, because we won South Piedmont in 2007 and 8, but Dennis won league MVP that year, and I'm sure Dennis don't mind me saying this, but that's why I think coaching is important, because the year before, and this is not a knock on anybody, but Dennis's junior year. He struggled throwing the football. He was a good athlete and could you can get him out on the motor, but he struggled throwing the football. But when Coach McMahon came in 2007, there was a lot of concerns, because that 2016 had 3 D1 players: Markwell Rivers, Michael Bowman, and Trenton Sturtevant, and then you had some FCS players like Nelson Russian and like that too that you lost all at one time. You lost Marshall Taylor. You lost a lot of good players from that team.
Yes.
And people and I know Marshall coached you. Marshall was a hell of a football player too. We lost a lot of good players from that team. Morris Gatewood. I mean, you lost 33 seniors, and everyone was like, "How in the world are they going to compete that next year?" Coach McMahon came in there with a team full of a bunch of sophomores and a senior Dennis Rory, which everybody was thinking like, we don't have Michael Bowman anymore. How in the world are we going to win with Dennis Rory playing quarterback? That dude went out there and had the best season of his career. And
wow.
MVP. They got to the third round of class when they lost to Northwestern. This is year 3. So that shows you it can be done.
Absolutely. I agree. Say again?
I said you can have a young team and still win.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree with that. Yeah, we just got to go play. Yeah.
We just go play. That's the main thing, is go out there and compete.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing wrong with competing, man. That's why I want to iterate to them. Like, it's okay.
That's what makes you
You're
better.
not gonna win every game.
That's
You
right.
want to, but that's a part of the game.
Yeah.
You don't win them all, but you learn something from each one, though.
That's right.
And my biggest thing is protect the football and don't get so many penalties. You'll be surprised how many people be surprised how many games you'll still be, whether you win or not, you'll still be in the game if you hold on to the ball and you don't move yourself backwards.
That's right.
You'll be in games. Whether you win or not, you'll have a chance. But if you turn the ball over and you get a bunch of penalties, you're not going to win a bunch of games.
No, you're not. You're not. Well, Florida State can tell you that part. So we got to protect the ball.
God.
I love Florida State. I was a Bobby Bowden guy. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying the Florida State of today is more of I guess a new age Florida State. I'm guessing.
Man, poor Coach Taggart, man. He got a raw deal too, man.
He really did.
They did him dirty.
He
should have stayed where he was at. He should have stayed where he was at.
When they lost to Jacksonville State last year, I said they got what they deserved. I didn't feel sorry for one bit.
Well, those are conversations we need to have off the air because I can tell you some things there.
I know. We ain't gonna get into. We can talk about Coach Sumlin at Texas A&M too, but we ain't gonna get into all that.
Yeah. Oh my God.
We'll talk about that off there.
Yeah.
Because I feel what you feel. We all feel the same.
Oh yes, sir.
I want to go back to what I was talking about as far as like when I was saying as far as the kids seeing history and all that stuff. I know that I feel like some of those guys now, I know a lot of them don't come back like they used to and visit and talk to the kids, like giving them some kind of motivation. Because let me tell you something, Stephon could probably tell you as much as anybody that he probably watched some of those teams before him. That man worked hard. I don't care what nobody say. He was years under me. That man, he wanted it. That's the thing. Like I feel like he's in that generation where them still like they're younger generation. A lot younger than I am. But what I'm saying is basically like I feel like they should be able to pick up off of that. Like they should see that he's there. He's actually with them. Like that's pretty much that generation.
I agree. And even with that being said, I just think if we can get another Stephon or Timmy Horn to come through with these kids, now those kids that are playing now, that would be more of a legacy, because I promise you, I really, I don't think they know Stephon, but I don't think they know Stephon. That you had that camp, those kids that were there, all those kids are out of school now. You know where I'm coming from? Then you had the pandemic, so you didn't have anything for about 2 years. So it's like it's a fresh start, and I don't I don't know what I need to do, because if I can do anything differently, I would like to know.
I was saying maybe try to get in touch with David Lutz. Are you familiar with David Lutz?
Yeah, he's on the wall in there as well. Yeah, yes sir.
Yeah, former Kansas City Chief, Detroit Lion. Yeah, played 12 years in the league, and former Georgia Tech.
Right? Yep.
Georgia Tech.
Right. You see, and that's something else I've been trying to do. I want to start a campaign to see can we revamp the weight room, because everything is outdated, and everybody that we play, every team, it doesn't matter. They've all had that excitement in the last 2 or 3 years of getting a brand new weight room. So our kids, we'll use what we got. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we're gonna work out. We're gonna lift weights. But I just think it'll create a new atmosphere if those kids can see something that is gonna be their beginning. You know what I'm saying? It got here when I was here, opposed to being here for 30 years or so.
Yeah, so something that can attach to their own legacy. I got you.
That's it. Yeah.
But the thing is, not even just in football. Like, we've had successful people come through our school, just like the Junkyard Dog played football here, and anybody who watches wrestling knows who the Junkyard Dog was. I mean,
yes, sir.
And it's true that he played at Bowman Senior High School, which later became Anson Senior High School.
Wow.
This is a non-football player, but anybody who watches WWE now, if you watch the Street Profits on Monday Night Raw, Kenneth Crawford, who wrestles as Montez Ford, he ran track at Anson Senior High School.
Yep.
Really?
I'm dead serious.
I talk to him as much as I can.
Yeah, we know him personally. We were supposed to get him on the show, but
look, why haven't y'all
busy.
introduced me to him though? I mean, I would love to meet him.
I haven't seen him in like 15 years.
I reach out. I reach out to him.
I'm like this. His sister. We graduated with his sister, Kiara.
Really?
Yeah. The funny thing about it, his sister came to the game where the Richmond County thing happened at. That was the game she was at.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was sitting with him. She and her husband came to hang out with us at the game. But I haven't personally seen Kenneth. Everybody that watches him on TV knows him as Montez Ford, but his real name is Kenneth Crawford. I ain't seen Kenneth since high school. So I'm talking about face to face. And like Nick talks to him sometimes.
About 7 years ago, face to face. But I talked to him occasionally, probably like maybe a couple weeks out the month, something like that. Hit him up.
But he ran track and high school.
They've been back on the road, so now that everything.
And I know he's busy, but I would just love to, talk to him. And my thing is, our players need to see that, I'm coming from, because Coach Jimmy Lindsay came in a couple of years ago. Now those guys are pretty much gone now, but he's been very supportive. He's done a lot for the program here in the last couple of years, and I can't thank him enough.
I'll tell you someone who might
get Juan Pope has been helpful as well. I'm sorry,
is he still working for the Jaguars?
I think he is, but he's done some things for us, that, you definitely want to make sure that they know how grateful we are.
Right.
And a lot of these guys who play for a team, I would think that their dads played on some of these teams. That's what
I think we have one kid that his dad played maybe in the early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken.
Dang, some of these dads are like my age. Ooh, this one.
Yeah. Well, he may be a little older.
Nick and I are 34, so it's possible like to have a freshman that could be that age.
Maybe the late 90s. Then maybe I don't know exactly how old his dad is, but his son. Matter of fact, all three of his sons have played for us. In the last 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I'm about to say you would think that legacy of seeing what your father did will motivate you as well.
Yeah,
I do know for a fact that one of your corners, I played with his uncle, and I don't know if his daddy didn't play, but I know I played with his uncle.
On the corners?
Yeah, I think he was corner last year.
Number 22?
2.
He was a running back too. Number 22.
Yeah, Tony Gainey.
No, not Gainey. 2.
Okay.
Number 2. Dean.
Dean. Oh yeah, Calvin. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I know Calvin Dean.
I played with his uncle.
Calvin Dean got a son that play football.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Calvin Dean. Right. We grew up in the same neighborhood. Like you talking Travis Dean, brother?
Mm-hmm.
I saw Travis Dean like 2 weeks ago. But
I seen him.
Yeah, Travis played cornerback too. He and Travis Huntley were all conference corners back like under Coach Grooms.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Jay Sean. That's making me feel Calvin Dean got a son that's in high school.
Yeah, he's graduating this year. What are you talking about? High school? He'll be a senior.
I used to ride the bus with Calvin Dean. I'm talking about the daddy Calvin Dean.
Yeah. Well, and Calvin has been very supportive. Heck, he cooks for us during our golf tournament. He and his wife came out and served food for us. So, I mean, we got good support. We just got to figure out how to get the rest of these kids involved. I don't know if we lose them to the streets or what, but they have not come back in droves yet.
Back to the Tony Dungy thing. At any point in the 7 years, do you have moments where you feel like that maybe I'm a little too kind, or is that just your personality? I'm asking that. That's not an insult. I'm just asking.
No, I don't take it as an insult. I really think that's who I am. I mean, I can remember when I got mad at South Stanley, and I said something to the official, and after the game, my coach was like, "Yeah, that's what we need from you, coach." But I've always been the type that let my play speak for itself. You know where I'm coming from? And if I know you're cheating me, then that means I got to work harder to prove you wrong. And that's what I've been trying to give our kids, because you know just as well as I know, 90% of our kids look just like us. And they're going to get cheated a lot in life.
Yep.
And if they don't stand up and be a man, they're going to keep getting run over, constantly. So if I can give them anything, that's what I want to give them. take the good with the bad and keep it rolling. You know,
and the reason I asked that because I've seen times where you see a head coach where he's more fiery, but then when a coach is like really fiery, a lot of times he'll have mild mannered guys on the staff offset it. Mm-hmm. Then I've seen times when a coach is mild mannered, he'll have fiery guys on the staff offset. Like Coach Fred Davis, similar personality to yours, easygoing. That takes a lot to get him riled up. But he had guys like John Kreger who were fiery on the staff.
Yes, sir.
The thing is sometimes it seems like everybody's laid back. And it's like, I still sometimes wonder, and I'm not knocking anybody's philosophy, but when you got 14, 15, 16-year-olds who already have challenges, who already were disciplined might be a challenge, when they see everyone is laid back, sometimes it could be like, well, my mistakes are inconsequential because he's not going to scream at me. I'm going to
no, I give it to the players now. They get it. Yeah, no, they get it. You know, I've been. I guess people have said that maybe I'm too rough, but I'm like, the players get it. You know, Monday through Thursday, it's a fest. I put it that way.
I think and you always talk to me about attendance and support, and I keep telling you until the results are consistent on Friday, you can call it fair weather, you can call it bandwagon, you can call it whatever you want. If those results aren't consistent on Friday, you're gonna see a lot of silver bleachers.
No, yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Like I said, in 2019, the thing is like that was a tease. It's like it gave us hope, it ended in disappointment, and we never recovered. And then everything else fell apart.
Yeah.
It's
then you had the pandemic. I mean, once again, I go that word again. Because I promise you, I thought the 2019 team, we had about 2 or 3 years of those athletes that really worked their ass off that were going to be playing. And when they took that whole season out, our guys probably got into everything that they didn't need to be into because they come back a shell of who they were the year before.
Yeah.
You know, so everything is a recovery.
And to be fair, losing Tariq Carson, losing your own flesh and blood, losing
Rasheed Burns, Jalen Marshall, you go down the line.
Daquan Sturtevant, Wesley Lear.
Yeah.
And that that shocked me. That was probably like one of the times I didn't see that was a passing team. That was a passing team.
Yeah.
I'll tell you someone else. Somebody at every level.
Yeah. I'll tell you another QB I like that I thought you pulled the leash on too soon. I mean, and I'm not knocking you, but I thought you should have stuck with. I know that season got cut short, but I thought you should have stuck with Ladarius Simon a little bit longer than you did. Because I liked him as a runner.
Yeah, Simon. Yeah.
I know he threw a couple bad interceptions, but I liked him as a runner. I thought,
and I don't even mind I tell the guys all the time, I don't care about the mistake. I want to see how you respond to the mistake. You know where I'm coming from. And LaDavian was he's a very intelligent kid. And maybe I did, had a knee-jerk reaction. I don't know, but he ended up, helping us out on defense as well. But maybe that did that. Maybe that falls.
Yeah, because I remember when I know the game that the knee-jerk reaction happened at Montgomery Central. We won that game 28-12. I'm like, he threw a couple of red zone interceptions. I know he did, but I was like, I thought like, don't give up on him yet, because I thought he added a little bit of explosive dynamic because of the mobility part. I was like, if you know you're going to struggle passing anyway, I always say at least
run.
Mask it with the mobility.
Yeah.
He can run.
I agree. Yeah, he could.
So, and I thought it ended up not mattering because the rest of the season got canceled for us anyway, so none of it mattered. That's when I felt like, and I don't care who hears this, I'll say this. I've always felt like, and I'm not calling anybody's names, but I always felt like there are people who work against you directly. I think there are people who want to see you fail. And I'm not going to imply who I think that is.
I understand,
But I think there are people who want to see you fail. I think there are people who don't want you to succeed. And I think that some of the resources that you're hoping that we get, I don't think we're going to get any of those resources until you depart, because I think that's how they want it to be, those people. And what will happen is whenever your departure happens, your replacement will be someone. Let me word this right. That they feel more comfortable and that they can relate with more, and they're going to give that person all the resources in the world.
Well, and I'm going to tell you right now.
You see, I told you so. That's going to be the logic.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. The same thing happened at North Stanley. You know, I was trying my best to revamp the weight room, and it never happened. The year that I came to Anson, they got a brand new weight room and everything else. So I definitely understand what you're talking about, and I can't disagree with you. And that may be the reality. You know, they may not. I don't know. They may not want me here. If they don't, just let me know. I mean, I love it here. I love these kids, and I know if we ever get back on track, I know what we can have. I know the potential is here.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, a lot of things that I can tell you off the air. I'm not going to mention it here, but I think I'm going to see how I can. Honestly, I'm going. Let me put it like this. I'm gonna give an example that happened in the NFL, and I'm gonna see if that parallel can draw it. You remember when Geno Smith played quarterback for the Jets, right? You remember there was a defensive end. He had lost a bet to him, and that defensive end punched him in the jaw. And he punched the quarterback's jaw, broke his quarterback's jaw.
Yeah,
he wouldn't have punched Ryan Fitzpatrick like that.
No, sir.
Right. So
catch drift.
Right, and the guy who punched Geno Smith is a guy who you would think would be able to relate to Geno Smith, but because they would, I believe, come from similar backgrounds. And he punched him, and I said the reason he punched him is because he didn't respect him enough. He felt comfortable enough to punch him. I said he would have never felt comfortable enough to punch Ryan Fitzpatrick because of the different background they come from.
That's
so
right.
now I feel like sometimes even players and parents of players, as far as whether you have to do what Coach Jackson tell you or not, is based on they're so comfortable. They're comfortable enough to where they don't necessarily have to buy into what Coach Jackson said, because what Coach Jackson says is inconsequential because of who Coach Jackson is. Whereas if generically, Coach, I'm gonna make up a name. If Coach Buddy Ryan III come in and coach, they're gonna buy into him immediately because they're conditioned. Their minds are conditioned that this is, I'm supposed to listen to this man.
That's right.
Because it's a natural process that a man like him is supposed to be an authority. We've been conditioned that a man like this man is supposed to be an authority, and a man like this man, authority doesn't mean as much. And I honestly think it may not be a conscious thing, it might be a subconscious thing, but I honestly think that's what it comes down to. Coach Davis still had success. But the difference with Coach Davis' success is he was publicly endorsed by Coach Emery. And when Coach Emery told the public that it was okay to support Coach Davis, that's when the community
he got behind him.
Even Coach Davis' own community got behind him and supported him because Coach and God rest Coach Emery told, but Coach Emery told them it was okay to support him. The same way, and I'm not getting into politics, but the same way, and I'm not, whether you're Democrat or Republican, anybody listening, I'm not telling you.
Yeah,
but the same way that I'll even say it, that black folks did not endorse Barack Obama until Ted Kennedy told them it was okay to endorse him. When Ted Kennedy endorsed him, when the state of Iowa, which is and you don't have to co-sign anything I'm saying. Anybody listening, these are not Coach Jackson's thoughts, these are my thoughts, I own them all. When Iowa, which is a state that's 95% white, and that caucus, when Barack Obama won that caucus in Iowa, when they saw that a state that was 95% white support him, that's when other black people bought in and supported him. So no, I'm not claiming racism because I always said I think as people who look like us who give you the hardest time, and I don't mind saying that. And the reason why I say that is because it's the conditioned mindset to not respect the man who looks like me, and I think it may be a subconscious thing, but I think a lot of that delves into it. You don't have to co-sign it. You don't have to say you agree or disagree. But that's my personal opinion on it. And I think until there's someone that they fear, then you're going to see a lot of that. So you're going to always have that uphill battle because I don't know if the fear is there, the appropriate fear. And I don't mean fear is like fear you as a human being. But I'm talking about fear. The fear is then the fear. I don't think some people don't fear losing. Some people don't fear going 3-7. So when there's no fear of loss, then how can you
there's no consequence. I
think my thoughts off the air. because I can't say what I want to say on.
Yeah, and I said mine cleanly.
Yeah, I'd rather just tell y'all the air high.
Yeah, we're not gonna make them sweat too hard. I ain't gonna make them sweat.
Yeah, we'll talk after the show.
Yeah, and again, I'll say that those are my thoughts individually. He hasn't said anything that I said. These are my thoughts. I own the thoughts. I own the opinion. He's been nothing but complimentary and a person who wants to work with all people, and that's what he's always displayed to anybody watching.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts, and I own them.
Absolutely. I got another question.
Yes, sir.
This is the overall take. I'm just gonna start from, let's say, minus January. We're starting Monday.
Mm-hmm.
What is the goal Monday?
We're getting ready for Mountain Island Charter Monday. For the guys that have been there. Everybody else, they're gonna have a 2 or 3 day workout, and then if they're good enough, they'll start getting ready for Mountain Island Charter. If not, they got to find them a place to play football right now on the spot. Going back to what you said earlier, Terrell, the kids, whether they respect me or like me or not, they're gonna all get treated. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Because if they don't do what I ask them to do, then I'm gonna tell them to do it. If they don't do it, then they're gonna be punished. So there's a consequence for everything. Now, if the parents don't like that part, then all I could do is say it's the standard. Because when my son was there, if he didn't listen, he got punished. He didn't get treated any better than anyone else. And I'm not going to treat anybody else's son better than another guy's son or woman's son.
Yeah, you told us about when you wouldn't allow him to dress that year.
Yeah, so the expectation is that we all want to get better as a unit. Yep. And we can't. And I'm going to say it, that 19 team, we were with those guys from their 7th and 8th grade year all the way. They were workers, okay? And we knew that we were going to win with those guys eventually, because once they caught up to speed with everybody else, like you say, they can play. We just spread off about 5 or 6 names, and those kids helped us out tremendously. And losing those type athletes set a void, So our guys, they know, like for instance, we're at minicamp and I'm walking down the hallway, and the guys are congregating in the lobby area. Somebody cussed, not in front of me. I just heard them walking down the hallway. I ducked my head in the room. I said, "Who said it?" They told me that kid had to do 30 up downs right now. Does that make sense? No questions. We're not going to negotiate. You did it. You know what the consequence is. They come to practice late. Yeah, accountability. We go to practice. They come to practice late. They're going to bear crawl and run. And when I meet with the parents, and I'm glad we on here because I want them to hear this, if they miss 3 unexcused practices, they can't be on the team.
That's understandable.
That's understandable.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying it's not I don't like kicking kids off the team. I love having them with us because at least I know what they're doing for 7 or 8 hours out of the day. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
But I think that some kids feel like they're gonna come and go as they please, and not around me. I was a little lenient over the summer because we needed them there, but come Monday,
it's time.
Shit, everything counts.
It's go time.
You understand me? Yeah, everything counts. So when I meet with the parents, I'll tell them that as well. And then if you hadn't been there, one of my things is the guys that have been there, be it a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior, you get your choice of numbers and your equipment. The guys, if you're a senior, that freshman gonna wear your number if he's a varsity player. And a lot of people don't like that, but that's just I've done it last year. I've done it ever since I've been here. And I hope this kid doesn't mind me telling this because I love this kid to death. He'll call me every once in a while. He talk to me for a while. But anyway, my first year here at 15, we were at minicamp at the high school. And this kid had missed us several days of practice or something, over the summer, hit or miss, oversleeping and everything. I gave out numbers the first night of minicamp. He didn't get his number. He calls his mom. "Mama, this man up here tripping. Coach Jackson tripping." She said, "What do you mean?" "He gave such and such my number." She said, "Well, why?" He said, because I hadn't been here every day or, X amount of days. She said, well, were you there? He said, no, ma'am. Well, don't call me complaining about a number. If you know what the expectation was, you get what you get. And I'm like, well, damn. I'm like,
accountability.
Yeah, I'm like, thank you. And to this day, this kid loves me to death, man. He brings his son by, he'll come see me, but he knew then that the bar has been set. Because that next year, guess what? He didn't miss any damn days.
And I know
he was there every day.
That's my nephew. I already know who you talking about.
Oh, that's your nephew, Nick, for real?
Yeah, that's like my nephew. His name start with a B, don't it?
Yes.
Yep. That's all I had to say. He good, man. He a good kid.
Yeah. Go ahead.
He a good kid. He good, man.
Yeah. And that's the thing, the relationships that we've created here, man. I'm telling you, it's like a bond. I had a kid that graduated 21. He's not playing football, but he's at Western Carolina. He brought his younger brother to middle school practice the other day before we went to minicamp. He come up and he was talking to me, he was telling him about, I always ask him about their grades, when are you going back and how do you feel about this year? He told me everything about his grades. He said he had like a 2.8, I think. I said, dude, you had a daggone 4.0 just about in high school. He said, Coach, it's just an adjustment period. He said, I'll be fine next year. I said, well, that's good.
Yeah.
On his way out the door, I had a mother sitting beside me taking the folders and stuff up for minicamp. The kid said, Coach, I got to get out of here. I got to get my sister back home. He said, I love you, Coach. I said, I love you too, man. And that woman said to me, she said, that's why I know I got my son in the right place. She said, just to see them in the relationship and how they come and talk to you and interact around you. She said, I'm glad to hear. Her son just moved here this summer from Weddington.
Oh, we got a Weddington kid.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, he's a good kid.
I'm about to say, we know he ain't going to be jumping off sides now.
He's very cerebral. I'll give you that. Absolutely.
I'm about to say, we got a Weddington kid. I'm about to say, you got any brothers?
I wish. I think he's the only child, I'm guessing. I don't know. But he's a great kid. He's a junior, so we'll have him for another year.
Tell them they can bring some Will Shipley's brothers and stuff too. We'll take them.
We'll take them. We don't know how long they'll stay, but we'll take them.
But there's something I want to ask you that you mentioned. You were speaking of the middle school. I'm hoping there's a relationship with the middle school because those are the guys that come up to be your freshmen. And I was talking with a gentleman. I mean, you know the gentleman. I'm just not gonna call his name because you and him stay in contact. But he helped the middle school coaching, and they kind of had the same issue, not struggling to find people to coach. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's problematic because that's the area. That's at the time where they're definitely being taught.
Yes.
So now, by the time you're getting them, when it's like that, you're having to teach them from scratch. So, is there any kind of relationship between the high school and the middle school to help so those middle schoolers could be up to speed when they get to you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been very fortunate to be able to appoint the middle school coaches for the last 6 years. And this year, it's a kid that played for me at North Stanley. I brought him here to Anson with me. He's teaching over there. He's the new middle school head coach. Okay. So throughout the summer, I've gotten to know quite a few of those guys because when we come out the weight room, they're on the practice field practicing. So I get to go out and watch those guys practice, talk to them, just interact with those guys. So the plays are going to be identical. Expectations are going to be identical. And I know I've heard a lot about the middle school being wild. So I think that Coach Turner, I think he'll do a good job as far as, setting the bar high and hopefully those guys will reach them.
Yeah. And my final point before I turn it over to Nick, I personally think it's a positive that we have a superintendent who's a former football coach. It wasn't a head coach, but one thing about Mr. McClain, and I like him personally, so I'm a little biased. I like him personally.
I'm very biased. I'll be honest.
Yeah, so I like Mr. McClain. I think he's a good guy, and I think that I'm hoping that the fact that you got he coached under Coach Emery. The fact that you got a superintendent who's actually in tune with football, who actually was a football coach himself, I'm hoping that relationship can also can make it easier for you to get resources that you need as well, because you got someone who's stood along those sidelines, who know what it's like and know the necessity of what a head football coach would need. And I'm going to ask you, and you can tell me none of my business, but is that line of communication strong and at least where it seems like things are supportive?
Mr. McClain has been nothing but extremely supportive of me in the program. I think we've had a relationship since I've been here, and I'm glad that he is our superintendent. I'm glad to be working for him. So yes, the relationship is there, the communication is there, and I want everybody to know that I support him just as much as he supports me, because I believe in him. I believe in his focus and his goals.
And so do I.
I do too. He did a lot. I can say he did a lot.
Everybody tells me how much of a disciplinarian he was when he was at the middle school as a principal. He was like, he was a no nonsense type guy, and I can see that in him, But yeah, I've enjoyed working.
But that's needed though.
Absolutely, that's an understatement. Yeah, yes, sir. I agree.
Yeah, some people act like discipline is like confuse discipline for meanness or harshness. When I remember when I was in Mr. McLeod, I don't know if you know Michael McLeod. He was my principal. He was Nick and I was principal twice, and at Anson Senior High School and at Wadesboro Elementary School. And I remember at Wadesboro Elementary School, and I don't mind Mr. McLeod. You said this. Mr. McLeod would call you to the office over the darndest little thing, like the
oh yeah.
And at the time, it's like, dude, chill out. And I was a student, but I was like, why is he like so particular about every little thing? And he actually explained. He said he's doing that because he's trying to instill discipline at a young age. So he's trying to let you. Right. That was his way of teaching accountability, teaching that there's a consequence for your actions. It's not that he was so upset that you were talking in the hallway. It's the fact that you have to understand how to follow instructions, how to be disciplined, and how to stay within the rules. And he was trying to establish that level of discipline while we were still really young. And of course, years later, all of it makes perfect sense now. But a lot of people were like, why is he the way he is? But like, if you talk to Mr. McLeod is one of the nicest, most caring principals that you would ever. He's a pastor now. One of the nicest, most caring. When I was in the hospital my senior year, and I don't mind sharing this, and I don't think he cares. He came to the hospital when I was in the hospital, and prayed with me. And he looked at my mom, and because my mom said, "Mr. McLeod, who told you about this?" And he said, "I'm not coming here as his principal today." And he came to me. He said, "Y'all join my hands and pray with me." And he prayed for me when I was in the hospital. That's the kind of man he is. So,
yes, sir.
So the reason that he was so tough is because he actually cared, not because he was on a power trip. So I think that if somebody's being tough on me, and I'm not, and they're continuously being tough on me and investing time just to be hard on me, that means because they actually care and they see something in me.
Yeah. Well, and I think I'm sorry.
You go ahead.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
I really feel like, a lot of those old school principals like that, they were more of a father figure in that school building than anything, because as a parent, you got to be meticulous, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not like it is today, back then it was probably wasn't as much, but you didn't want those kids making those small mistakes. Because like you say, certain kids that make small mistakes will never get a chance to recover. So he was teaching you accountability, and I didn't have that type principal when I was in school. I never had that type of a principal throughout my whole school career. So as a teacher and a coach, that's what I am. I mean, I'm telling you, if those guys spit wrong, they know they're gonna get yelled at. They think that I'm a general. They think that I'm just a Nazi or something, because I'm very meticulous about everything they do, not football, in that school building, because I know that if they can do it there, they give themselves a chance to be successful in life.
Let's use the term drill sergeant. I'm gonna try to clean it up for you. I for the record, use the word he just used. He's meaning it like drill sergeant. He wasn't meaning it in the sense of anything that's against anybody. He's just talking about the toughness. I just want to clean it up because this on live video. So I know you didn't mean
absolutely.
Like but I'm making it known that hey, that wasn't the intent.
No, thank you for the clarification. I do appreciate that. Yes, sir.
Because because we live in a society today where even if you misspeak, it can take a turn to the left.
Blow up. Yeah, absolutely.
And I know that it wasn't anything like that. But you were basically what you were meaning, like hard nosed, is what you're meaning.
Yeah, just constantly, yes sir, constantly on trying to put them in the right direction.
Right.
Absolutely. So. Drill sergeant is better. I agree.
Anyway, go ahead, Nick. My bad.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I've been impressed over the 6 years. I know things have had ups and downs, but you know, like I said, me and him, we want to make this an annual thing.
I love it.
Continue to do it as much as we can. Talk as much as we can, and we got you back 100%, man. I just gotta put it like that. I ain't.
Well, thank you. And the door is always open. I mean, heck, if you guys don't have my cell number, you'll have it after we get off the air. I promise you.
I got your number.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, man. You always welcome on here, man. And we try to keep up with the season as much as possible. I try to make as many games as I can.
That's right.
Schedule and everything, but I try to make it as many as I can.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: what do you guys think about some home games if you can make it? Especially if we have guys that do well. What do you guys think about coming out and interviewing the guys live? Is that possible?
We can make it happen.
Hey, that sounds good to me.
We can make it happen.
Yeah. I run it by Coach Jordan and Mr. Stinson. I think that'll be great. That'll give the kids some excitement as well.
And for the record, I have a great relationship with Coach Stinson. So I don't think he'll mind. Like Coach Stinson taught me in 9th grade. We talk every Friday when I'm at the games or whatever. He still knows my first name. I was in his first class when he came out of college. So
oh wow,
he still know my mom. So I get along with him great. So I mean, you ain't got to worry about him. Like, oh, well, who's Tyrell? He knows me.
Yeah. I understand that. Well, that's good. Then I'll definitely speak with them Monday and see what we can come up with.
Coach Jordan knows me too. Coach Jordan don't know me by name, but Coach Stinson knows me by name.
Yes, sir. Good.
We definitely can make that happen. I would love to do that. They might, like you said, give the kids some kind of morale boost. And I know the kids now watch YouTube. So
that's bingo. Yeah. In that 2019 year, we had everything on YouTube. The Moses brothers did it for us. Junior Moses. Yeah.
Was that the year the team fell apart after looking like they were going to win the championship in the middle of the season?
Nah, I think that was
that year we beat Statesville and all that, and then we got to the easy part of the schedule. We fell apart.
Yeah, well, no, that wasn't that year. That was the 19th.
We beat all the good teams. We beat all the good teams, and then lost to all the teams that we were favored to beat.
Yeah, that wasn't that year, but that was not that year. Me too.
That should have never happened.
Well, when we beat Statesville, I'm thinking like, okay, good, yeah, we ready. And
14-0 to shut them out.
Yeah. Well, I think that really was the guys not realizing or understanding how to handle success. And I guess I have to do a better job of that. But I mean, we kept those guys grounded. But I really think people in the community just kept pumping their heads up. Oh man!
And then I heard I wasn't at the South Greenville game because I was out of town. But word on the streets, we got screwed out of that game.
We got royally screwed, dude. I'll be honest with you. I'll totally be honest with you.
And then that homecoming game against Mount Pleasant. Well, here's what bothers me. They got the ball back. It was 28-23. They got the ball back with 8 minutes left in the dang ball game. They ran off the final 8 minutes of the game without their offense coming off the field. All we had to do was get one stop. I feel like because DeQuan Sturgeon had put the game in his hands. If we got the ball back one more time, he was going to take it.
It was over. Yeah, it was over.
They just lining up in that wing formation or that wishbone, whatever they run, and just 4 yards here, 3 yards here.
Well, they widen the gaps out. When they widen those gaps out, our guys, they were tough, but that's just a pounding with those big linemen they had that year. But once again, I agree with you. If we and the guys, I can remember she said, "Coach, if we got the ball back one more time, it was our game." He kept saying that. I said, I agree with Rasheed, but we didn't get the damn ball back. I'm sorry.
We didn't have no business getting down 16-0, and then you wouldn't have been in that situation in the first place. But
that's right. Yeah.
Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, it's a learning curve.
That's part of that fight and drive. Like, if you had another chance.
Y'all got to have next year, even though they tried to take the game from you. They called 17 penalties against y'all.
For like 90 yards. I'm saying, like, what
I remember one drive. The officials literally walked Mount Pleasant to the end zone. It was like 15 yards, 15 yards. And then I remember when Burns body slammed that dude. Then they threw another 15 yards. And I was like, and that tied the game up 21-21. The very next which dude tossed it out. Lear tossed it out. DeQuan Sturber, he turned that corner.
It was over.
He swept across the corner, boom, 28-21, just like that. And then at the end, Rashid intercepted, ran a pick six back, and and I was like, oh, they did everything to take that game from me.
They did. They did.
Okay, because I like that's if they could get past that after getting 16 personal foul penalties, that's they'll be
well. Okay. At that point, then we knew those kids would have folded any other time. You know where I'm coming from? But that's what I want to give all our kids. You know they're cheating. You don't complain. Play harder. You know where I'm coming from? And that 19 team, I'm telling you, I promise you, that's what I want us to look like year in and year out. We want to be competitors. We want to play hard. We want to make sure that people understand that no matter what you do, you cannot take our effort away.
And one other thing, that 5-star DB that played for Lee County that went to Carolina, who's like the number one DB in the country, I want to be known that Tyreek Hardison gave him the business. And God saved them with a thunderstorm.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to.
We were talking about that the other day.
He sent the thunderstorm because Tyreek Hardison was giving him the business, and God sent the thunderstorm and saved him. He gave him 3 days to come back on. We had to take a 75-mile bus trip up the road.
Killed our guys. Monday's never good for us, you know.
I gotta talk about that too, man, because that bothers me. You in the summertime, you know it's gonna rain, you know there's gonna be storms, and you know games gonna get rescheduled. We can't lose every time a game's played on a Saturday. We can't lose every time a game gets stopped and get moved to a Monday.
Yeah,
it's like and that's been like a problem unless you're playing South Stanley or something like that. And I'm not knocking South Stanley, I'm just saying that's.
I know.
Yeah, that's like a game that should never been on the schedule. That's like outclassing. Yeah. I'm talking about as far as numbers and all that, but I'm talking about when you're playing a quality opponent, you can't lose every time again. I remember when the game against Monroe got pushed back on a Saturday. We should have won that game against Monroe. But Darren Harrington would have intercepted that ball at the end of the game.
That's the game right there, brother. Yeah, that's the game.
Yeah, I keep thinking of all these what if scenarios where it's like the difference in games where one dropped interception, one missed tackle, one block punt, one missed tackle, just like changes the whole game.
I like to play the devil's advocate because I like asking these scenario questions. If 2019 was not 2019, I seen that team going really far.
Oh yes, sir.
Really far.
Yes, sir.
I had that expectation that year.
Yeah, Coach Quan is still mad about that year.
Quan Sturman.
Because he knew. Yes, sir. He knew. He was like, Coach, that was it. That was the team.
It was.
He keeps saying every time we talk, it's about 2019. And I'm like, Coach, look, you can't hurt more than I hurt because hell, I'm the head coach, But he's like, nah, Coach, that was the year.
This is my personal opinion. I thought talent-wise, the team had the talent to win the state championship. This is just my prediction. But I felt like ultimately penalties would have prevented us from winning the state championship. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you on that as well. But I just think if we could have got to the fourth round, look, dude.
We had talent to play with anybody. We had two running backs that could gas you. Yeah, we had a quarterback who you had Tyreek Hardison, who you couldn't stack the box on him because if you did, he was gonna blow you over the top.
That's right.
And then if you tried to back everything up, your kid was gonna carve him up, go eat him up underneath. Your kid had the best hands on the team. So
it was a three-level threat, whatever way you looked at.
It doesn't matter, yes, sir. If you stopped one, I promise you couldn't stop the other.
Yeah, so
if you prepared to stop the passing game, the Quan was gonna eat you alive.
Yeah. It would have been a matter of, and historically in the playoffs, this is way before you. Anson's had several teams good enough to win the championship, but usually when we get close, we'll find a way to beat ourselves, and it bothers me every time. This is not a Ralph Jackson. This is Coach Davis to tell you, Coach McMahon to tell you, Coach Hyatt to tell you. Coach Hyatt to tell you his first year, we got to the fourth round of the playoffs. We lost to the South Point Red Raiders, and they'll tell you that we fumbled the ball about 5 times in that game. And that was the difference in the game.
Yep. They came back, but it was a little too late then. But
yeah. Beat ourselves.
Yep.
Should have won a state championship against Kings Mountain. Our defense had a 2008. I know we got screwed at that 2-point conversion, but our defense had a meltdown. We lost that game 56-55. The points were there.
I think somebody told me about that. Yeah,
we went for 2 at the end instead of going for overtime. One official held his hands up that the 2-point conversion was good. The official on the far side of the field said no good, and he overruled it. And we lost the game 56-55. I never got mad about that because it's good. The talent that we had on defense, you had Brandon Ellerby, DJ Ellerby, Stephon Anthony, Doug Lilly. You got those. You had 3 or 4 D1 guys in that defense. They didn't have no business giving up 56 points. And that was a defensive meltdown. What happened? Kings Mountain had a quarterback who had escapability, and when the pocket collapsed, he was scrambled, and when he was scrambled out, they couldn't keep contained. They weren't the defensive ends weren't keeping contained, and what would happen when they were rushing and lose contained, the defensive backs got caught looking in the backfield, and what would happen? They were giving up so many big plays. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, and that's the hardest thing to teach our guys, our DBs, because we're still getting toast with that same thing. You know, you play through the man and the ball. You don't look at the quarterback. The quarterback can't help you. He's gonna hurt you. But once again, it goes back to just you got to keep reteaching it, teach it over again.
I know one thing. Anytime someone hit a slant over the middle, that was toast. Not only would they hit the slant, the safeties would stand there and look at him, catch it, and then watch them run right by him for a touchdown. I'm like, you gave up the first down, at least tackle him.
Yeah, please.
That 2009.
No, that's how they scored the first touchdown. Like it was like ordinarily. Okay, he caught the slant. That would have been a 15-yard gain. Tackle him. It's 1st and 10 for the 50-yard line. Not only did he catch the slant, there were 2 safeties standing there looking at him, and they watched him catch it and stood there and watched him take off a run for a touchdown. I'm like,
And that right there that just tells you where our guys' heads were, as far as leadership, because one of those guys was a senior, and he's supposed to make that play, and 2 of their touchdowns came off that same guy.
And he's a good player. That's what.
Yes, sir.
Number 14. He's a player.
He was a daggone slobber knocker, dude. Look, we were talking about him the other day. Before the pandemic, his sophomore year, dude, we couldn't wait to get him. We couldn't wait to get him back on that field now in that weight room. He didn't get to play his junior year because of the pandemic and the grades. So he come back out his senior year, he was a step slower. He wasn't really prepared because he didn't have a chance to, but he ended up helping us out in other ways, but he was not the same player.
But looking at him, I remember I saw him up there at Salisbury at that jamboree thing, just looking at him, he stood out because he looked like a safety. Like I'm done.
Yes, sir.
He looked like a safety that you would thought that could have played in college. I'm just talking about just looking at him walk and looking at him take the field. I'll tell you another guy, Darren Harrington looked like that. Darren Harrington was a good player. I want to make that clear. Yeah. Darren Harrington looked like a baller. Like and was a good player. When you saw Darren Harrington, it was like if he was just a little bit taller, that dude would be a D1 safety.
Oh, absolutely. But this is what Darren thing was. Darren junior year was a killer junior year.
He had 11 sacks. Yeah.
Yeah. Then he comes back his senior year. He was a shell of a person. He was not the same person.
Well, you had to play a running back.
Well, no, that ain't got nothing to do with it. He can play running back. I'm just saying he did not measure up to what he did his junior year. I'm being honest with you. And I told him this. If Darren was as focused and as committed as he was his junior year, he would have had a great senior year.
I never forget. I never seen you talk like this before. There's a Mount Pleasant. Y'all got in the ball. This is at the end of the game when you got the ball down to about the 2-yard line. And he got upset because he thought something should have been called. He gets to fussing at the referee, and you pulled him on the sideline, and he's trying to explain why he was fussing. And you told him, I ain't going to say what you said, but it was something that was quiet. It was like that.
Yes, yeah.
You don't want to get a penalty down there.
Bingo. And look, there's another kid that I love to death. I love dearly, man. He loves me. We had that tournament a couple of weeks ago out in Oakboro, and he was out there. And all he loves picking on me. He wants to wrestle me every time he sees me. I said, Darren, I'm too old to be wrestling you, young ass dude. Don't grab me.
No, but I liked him as a linebacker and I liked him as a safety. I always because I thought he had good change of direction in his hips too. And I always thought he was quick to react to and he was good at jumping that snap too, like on a good pass rush.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shucks, he had that his junior year. He beat West Stanley by himself. Well, and West Stanley.
Yeah.
You know, he killed those guys. I mean, they couldn't block him, nor could they gonna stop him.
Yeah, you beat him 34-0. I was at that game. I mean, you beat West Stanley that game, and against West Stanley this year, if Shakari Hickson wouldn't injure his ankle, I think we'd beat him this year.
We'd have won that game.
Because here's what bothers me: out of everything that happened last year, we still should have gone 5-5. I'm talking about out of everything. I wasn't at Parkwood because I had to replace my radiator fan in my car, and I didn't want to drive from Charlotte to Waysboro with the car running hot. And I missed the game at Parkwood. But I had somebody. I can't think of her name. Their son, they got a son that played for you. They love you to death. I don't know if his last name Campbell or whatever, but Danny Preston's wife. I can't think of her name for anything right now. But
what's the name?
The husband's name is Danny Preston. But what's that? Hey, Nick, what's LD's wife's name?
I can't remember her name. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, I know JD Joseph Davis is her son. I know you're talking about. I can't remember her name either right now.
But anyway, she was giving me the updates, and so I'm sitting here at home because I can't find the game nowhere on the internet or nothing. So she gave me an update. She's like, okay, Anson leads 14-7. I'm like, what? And then it's like, then she hit me back. Anson leads 20-14. Now then it was like Anson leads 20-17 or whatever. Now it's tied up 20-20, and the next thing you know, she hit me back. We're still leading. Then she give me the final score. We lost like 24-20 or something like that. We were up 20-17, lost 24. And I asked somebody what happened. And someone told me late in the game we had a fumble on a pitch out or something like that. And
yes, sir.
I wasn't there, so I didn't see it. But someone told me there was like a fumble on a pitch out that turned the tide of the game.
We lost the game. We lost the game 3 plays before that. You know, we were talking about them throwing the ball up in the end zone, and that's what this the score that tied the game. And we told them, look, don't try to intercept the ball, just knock it down. And it's not this kid's fault because he was young. He really should have been a JV player, but he was in the right place at the right time. But he tried to catch the ball and it popped up. And I'd be damned if their receiver didn't catch the damn ball in the end zone and tie the game up. So, and I'm gonna say it again, it was not that kid's fault, you know. But we told, look, knock the ball down. Don't worry about it. We don't need an interception. Just knock the ball down, you know. And then we get the ball. Yeah, well, that changed the game there. Then we get the ball back, and we had another kid who should have probably been a JV player as well. Now, their number 44 was a dirty player. He just kept punching our kids. He headbutted them. You name it, he was doing it. And they come off the ball, and they hit our offensive guard. And the offensive guard takes his helmet off. And Gainey had just run the ball 12 yards for a first down.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Boom, and we got to go back 15 yards from where we started.
Yeah, but you can't take your helmet off in the field. You can't take your helmet off in the field of play, though.
But the Cleveland. He's talking about. Go ahead.
The Cleveland Browns lost a game like that one time years ago. Late in the game, it was like ticks left on the clock, and dude took his helmet off and ran off. Then they hit with a 15-yard penalty, which put the other team in field goal range, and they won the game at the end. You can't take your helmet off. That's unsportsmanlike conduct every time.
Yeah, and I'm not arguing with the call. The call was correct. I'm just saying that kid after the game, I was saying, look, he said, but coach, he kept pulling my face, man. He kept slapping me. I said, dude, it doesn't matter. You're playing a football game. You're not in the streets. And this kid is not even like that. He doesn't even have that mentality. But he was upset. He took his helmet off and hit me now. I'm like, and I look at this kid and I'm like, you son of a gun. So when he got to the sideline, as I said, he should have been a JV player. So there's no use in rimming him out, and he's out there giving all he has. He just made a deck.
Right, but what that's about, and I'm not here talking about this kid in particular, but emotional intelligence is important. And some of this is a microcosm because when like for example, emotional intelligence, lack of emotional intelligence have cost NFL players their career. Greg Hardy is not playing in the NFL right now.
Dang, great
because of a lack of emotional intelligence. Miles Bridges just missed out on $125 million because of lack of emotional intelligence. That same lack of emotional intelligence can be something down, and I'm not saying that on him, but I'm saying in general.
I get what you're saying. You know,
that type of lack of emotional intelligence. If you don't learn that at 16 in a mild generally speaking, inconsequential life situation that, if you go on to think that's how you're supposed to react, now when you get in an argument with your wife or girlfriend and you react that way,
Ray Rice.
Yeah, exactly. You lose everything.
Yes,
so
sir.
It's still hopefully because you say he's a good young man. He made a mistake.
He is.
But hopefully going into this season, he'll remember that. I'm gonna tell you a guy who I always thought. Speaking of Octavian Harrell, this is what I like about him. I'll never forget we were playing somebody, and they called a block in the back on him. It was on a big play. So I remember a few plays later when Daquan was running by. I remember when Octavian didn't even have to block the guy. What did he hit his hand? Yeah.
Hey, he learned a lesson, you know.
Yeah.
And to this day, he's the same person, man. And I'm trying my best to get him in that
I
remember that.
Talking about that.
I remember that like yesterday, buddy.
They're playing East Montgomery, I think, until they were playing. And he had a hand up just like that.
I remember that. Oh, God.
For the stands, I said, he's smart. I'm like, he know that he said, he let him get him this time.
No, we ain't costing us anything else this time, you know.
Right, but one thing about him, his dad was heavily in his ear. I'm talking in a positive way. Like his dad, Larry, was always staying on him. Like was on him. His dad is a disciplinarian, so that helped.
Yeah.
And
his grandmother. Hold on, his grandmother too.
That's wonderful.
Yes, sir. She did not play. I promise you. Yeah, and you know, and once again, it just goes back, and I told those guys when I first got here, like Ben Smith, Timmy, you know, Octavian. You know, this is a 40-year relationship, guys. It's not just 4 years. It's for the rest of your life.
Man, Ben Smith was a dog, and I mean that in a positive way.
Man, his skinny tail, they couldn't block him.
But like, he like number 8 or something like that one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Had a great motor.
Y'all had a man on the defensive line.
What? We had to, but
I'm saying he was getting penetration.
Yes, sir. Yes,
he's
sir.
tough like that, man.
Yeah, he was. He reminded me of Morris Gatewood.
Yeah,
if he had Morris Gatewood's size,
though.
That's what I was gonna say. If he had his size,
it
wouldn't have been close. It wouldn't even been close.
Man, you had some players, man. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, we can't be where every year we're only good when we got 30 seniors. That can't be like every third year.
That's right.
It gotta be a reload. You can't keep rebuilding the building that never gets built.
You got that right. Hell, I mean, the foundation has to be solid, you know. And
because it can't be like the Panthers facility in Rock Hill. It got to get built.
That's a great point, and I respect that, you know.
And
hopefully they'll let us build it, you know. Hopefully they'll let us build it. We'll see.
I mean, when they had 7 years, man.
Well, once again, I mean, you know, obstacles are obstacles too.
Yeah. Now I will say one thing. Anybody I meet from New London or Baden or Richfield or whatever, they think the world of you. Anybody I meet around there, I will say that if you did have that kind of support, because you told me this one time and I'll say this time, I kind of, after the whole 2019 thing happened, it really brought it to light that if you had the support that the people of Baden, Richfield, New London, Meisenheimer, wherever else I'm leaving out, if you had that support here that you had there where everybody bought in, because you remember I asked you, I said, it only took you 2 years to get not South Stanley, North Stanley. It only took you 2 years. I looked you up when you got hired. The first 2 years were abysmal, and then the second 2 you won like 9 games back-to-back years or whatever. I said, now I remember I asked you like how you took over a program that was in bad shape then and got that and turned that around, and it helped that you had a D1 a running back that was
running back,
but still got that turned around, and I'm like, we're here, and it's like we've only had one winning season in 7 years or in six or 7 years.
Hey.
And it's like, but and at first it used to really bother me, but now it's like I wondered what happened to where the community no longer bought into the program at all. Like what it wasn't like. Coach Davis will tell you that it didn't used to be like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wonder. I wish, since he's retired from principal now, I wish that he could be like an advisor or a consultant or something, or even if they get the Booster Club started back up and over that. I think that his presence, especially, and you and him have a form of communication. his presence, I think, will be welcome because think about it, he's a credible voice, and no matter what anybody said about it, he's the all-time winningest coach in the program's history, and won a lot of.
He tells me that every time he sees me. He tells me.
Hey, I guess the truth is the truth, but
I don't hide from the truth. I like coach,
and I think I wish that he would be willing to even work on a volunteer basis, even just as a consultant or something, because we need someone to rally.
There could be a liaison to the community.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
we need someone like that. We need someone who has a credible voice, who can help. Maybe the widow of Coach Emery, if she's still around, people like that who were a part of the great tradition. We need people like that to rally the base back up. Because until then, you're going to face the same obstacles every year. This is the third straight season when you count shortened season that it's like guys not wanting to show up and stuff like that. I mean, I know the pandemic happened, but we got to get back to life.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I mean, hey, look, I'm back to life. I'm there every day, ready to go.
Right.
I just don't know what's going to bring them back out right now.
The same pandemic hit Wellington. The same pandemic hit Richmond Senior. The same pandemic hit the South Point Red Raiders. And I'm just not shot at you. I'm just talking about just the overall.
I agree. Yeah,
it hit everybody.
Yeah, it was worldwide. I agree.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, but so who? I'm like, who? Shelby won the 2A title. The pandemic was in Shelby. Who won the 4A title? Cardinal Gibbons won the 4A title. Cardinal Gibbons. I don't even know who won some of the other titles, but we and I don't really keep up with the playoffs. And out of that, we still should have won 5 games and made the playoffs last year and could have seen what happens. But it's that game of inches, man, and it's like we always come up an inch short.
Yeah.
The longest yard. Yard short.
Yeah, and I started at Mount Pleasant 2 years ago, just about that.
Yep, like Tennessee Titans against the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Hey, not quite long enough.
Yeah. Hey, but go ahead, Nick. I gotta go to sleep sometime, Nick. So I ain't gonna hold him up all night long.
Oh no, I got you. We finna close the show out, Coach. We appreciate you for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for answering all the questions. You know, we want to how to say third degree, but we just asking.
Hey, some questions. Y'all just know I don't take anything personal, and you know what you see from me is what you get. I'm that same person every day.
Oh yeah,
yes sir.
I believe he dealt a lot worse behind the scenes than the questions from us. So by the time he get to us, he's just like, "Hey, this is."
Hey, listen, it's a good conversation.
Yeah, we're gonna try to keep it that way, man. Because like I said, I'm on the page with you, man. I'm rock with you. You know, like I said, I'm not gonna say what I want to say on air because that ain't. You know.
Well, we sure can talk off air then. I love to hear it.
All right, well,
and don't text it. Don't. He ain't gonna text with the controversy. I can tell you that now. He'll say call me.
We up out here, man. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Appreciate Coach Jackson for coming by and talking to us for a little bit, man. And we'll be back next week. And thank you, Coach. And
yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
Have a good one, guys.
You too.
Yes, sir.